Welcome to FinOut, the single source of truth for all your usage-based costs.
Today I'm going to explain a bit about Kubernetes and the two different idols that are basically looming behind that great infrastructure. So we all know Kubernetes, it's on the rise, it's one of the most popular infrastructure instrumentation tools. I don't think there's a modern company today that isn't experimenting with Kubernetes or even heavily utilizing it. The problem is that Kubernetes is basically a layer of abstraction on top of your cloud nodes. So basically, I buy VMs from my cloud provider. It doesn't matter the cloud provider, AWS, GCP, Azure, but I create a layer of abstraction, which is basically Kubernetes, where we basically run applications on top of these nodes. If we're looking at it from a cost management problem, the fact that I know the price of the nodes doesn't help me to understand the price per application, per namespace, per label, per pod, because each pod is running on a different node. This creates basically what we call the problem of two idols. The first one is the node level idle, which we call in FinOut the node unallocated resources. What do we mean by unallocated? Just imagine if I have one node of 4 CPUs and I only utilize a single deployment, one deployment of that uses 2 CPUs. Okay, request two CPUs from that node. So basically, I can only use 2 deployments per node. So if I have deployed 2 pods, my unallocated ratio will be 0 because I completely use the entire node. But let's say I'm using 3 deployments. I basically need to buy another node from the cloud provider. Maybe I just need to upgrade the single node that I'm using to 6 CPUs, and I don't need to over provision and basically have one node that is only 50% unallocated. The use cases go on and on, but the basic principle is that we have to understand exactly how much we are not using from the node level by our Kubernetes infrastructure. I know that you're probably saying, but you said 2 idols. What's the second idol? So Kubernetes makes stuff even more complex. Basically, what we need to do is also monitor the idle of the pod itself, because I mentioned before, the pod is not the smartest thing in the world. It just requests resources from the node and it basically occupies them, but it doesn't need to use those resources. So just imagine that on the same example, we have one node with 2 deployments, which requests all the node CPUs, but it only uses 1 CPU each. So basically, we have 1 CPU on an idle state, but because the node has to give that to the deployment, we basically have to waste these CPUs. This use case is very, very common in the Kubernetes landscape. And what we do at FinOut is basically we put a $ to that idle, to that waste. We basically combine the data from the node level that we get from the cloud provider, basically the $ that node costs us, together with operation metrics of CPU, memory, and understanding exactly how much a single pod costs us. And then we allow our customers and basically allow everybody to monitor both their idle and their waste. Thank you.